Okay, let's unpack this. When you picture ancient Babylon, what comes to mind? Is it the hanging gardens? Those massive walls, probably gold, lots and lots of gold. A city legendary for its immense wealth.
Yeah, definitely the gold.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Our sources tell us Babylon wasn't built on natural resources. There were no gold mines nearby, no vast forests for timber, not even stone quarries.
Right.
It was situated in a flat, arid valley, honestly, kind of like Yuma, Arizona today.
That's right. The historical sketch in our sources paints a picture of a place where wealth was almost entirely, man-made. Its only real natural resources were the fertile soil and the water of the Euphrates River.
That's it.
Pretty much. Everything else, its grandeur, its prosperity, it was the product of human ingenuity, hard work, and crucially, a deep understanding of certain principles. Our deep dive today is going to focus on those very principles distilled from stories and teachings that survived on ancient clay tablets.
And those principles, our sources suggest, weren't just about state-level economics or grand engineering projects, though Babylon had those in spades,
Oh, absolutely. Big projects.
They were fundamentally about personal wealth accumulation. How did individuals in the city, surrounded by opulence, learn to build their own financial security? Our dive is anchored in teachings attributed to a figure famed as the richest man in Babylon, a man named Arkad.
Precisely. And this deep dive is your shortcut to understanding those timeless rules. Our mission is to extract the most important nuggets from the sources you've shared, understand the core ideas that built fortunes thousands of years ago in a place where wealth had to be, created, and see how these ancient lessons can still help you build your path to financial security today.
Sounds good.
Ready to dig into these ancient secrets?
Let's do it. And we begin our story not with the kings or the high priests, but with two ordinary citizens struggling right there in the heart of the wealthiest city in the world. We meet Bansir, a chariot builder, and Kabi, a musician. Now, you'd think living in Babylon would make wealth easy, but our sources describe their purses as empty as a forgotten falcon's nest.
Wow. It's such a powerful image of scarcity amidst plenty, isn't it? And the sources emphasize they aren't lazy. Not at all. They work hard.
Really hard.
Bansir talks about laboring from early dawn until darkness stopped me. Kabi earns a living playing his lyre. They are skilled, diligent men, contributing to the city.
But despite all that effort, their purses are perpetually lean, just empty. They spend their earnings freely, living very much in the moment, day to day.
Yeah, it's getting by.
They dream of wealth. They see it all around them, the golden chariots, the fine clothing, the rich foods, but it never accumulates for them. Bansir voices their frustration, feeling like they are working, getting nowhere.
It's a feeling many people can relate to, I think, past and present. The sources highlight their growing worry, particularly for their sons. They fear their sons are doomed to repeat the same cycle, living in a prosperous society, yet never securing wealth for themselves.
Right. And there's a pivotal moment of realization. Kabi mentions seeing Arkad ride by in his golden chariot, noting that Arkad still greeted them kindly, showing no arrogance. This contrast, their empty purses versus Arkad's golden chariot, sparks a thought. Maybe Arkad knows a secret to acquiring gold that they don't. They decide to seek out their old friend, this man famed as the richest in Babylon.
And Kabi has a crucial insight here that sets the stage for their request. He tells Bansir something like, "A man's wealth is not in the purse he carries. A fat purse quickly empties if there be no golden stream to refill it."
Interesting distinction.
Yeah. He says, Arkad has an income that constantly keeps his purse full no matter how liberally he spends. That idea of a steady, flowing income, a passive stream of wealth, truly resonates with them. It's not just about the money you have right now, but the money that keeps coming in.
Exactly. It shifts their focus from simply having gold to generating it reliably. They realize they've never truly sought wealth itself. They've sought to be good at their trades.
Right, they focused on their craft.
As Kabi puts it, in those things toward which we exerted our best endeavors, we succeeded. Now at last we see a light. It biddeth us to learn more that we may prosper more. Their purpose solidifies. They wish to become men of means, to learn how to acquire these incomes.
So they approach Arkad, not for a handout, not for charity, but for education, for knowledge. This is the core of the man who desired gold. Story from the sources, the yearning for wealth, born from frustration, and the decision to seek knowledge.
Which brings us to Arkad, the subject of the richest man in Babylon chapter. The sources describe him as not only immensely wealthy, but also renowned for his liberality. He's generous with his family, with charity, and enjoys the good things in life for himself.
Sounds like a good life.
Totally. Yet, despite this generous spending, his wealth increases faster than he spends it.
And that's the mystery, right? This is the mystery his friends from younger days bring to him. They were his equals in their youth, in studies, in games. They've worked just as diligently and faithfully over the years, yet their lives are still a struggle while Arkad is rich and celebrated.
They must be wondering what happened.
Exactly. They wonder if some capricious fate singled him out for fortune. Was it just luck?
And Arkad's response is disarmingly simple. He says it wasn't fate, or superior power, or even exceptional wisdom initially. He attributes his success to time and study.
Time and study, okay.
He points out that his friends have had time in abundance just like him, but they haven't used that time to figure out how wealth accumulates. They just let it slip by.
He reminds them of their wise teacher's words. Knowledge is two kinds, what you already know, and the training to find out what you don't know. Arkad decided early on that his task would be to train himself to understand how wealth was acquired and then to apply that knowledge diligently.
So he made a conscious decision to learn about money. His beginning was humble, though. He started as a scribe in the Hall of Records.
Scribe, okay.
It's worth noting that even in these ancient times, Babylon, a hub of trade and engineering, was a place where record-keeping and early forms of finance, like promissory notes and written titles to property, things the Sumerians invented, were crucial. So a scribe had a front-row seat to commerce, even if his own earnings were small.
That makes sense. He'd see the transactions, the contracts.
Exactly. But he labored long hours for little return, his earnings quickly absorbed by expenses, food and clothing and penance to the gods, and other things of which I could remember not what.
Relatable.
Totally. But, he says, his determination to find out how to accumulate wealth didn't leave him. He kept that goal in mind.
This sets the stage for his pivotal encounter with Algamish, the wealthy moneylender, who arrives needing a copy of the 9th law carved quickly onto a clay tablet.
Right, time pressure. Arkad, seeing his chance, makes a bold bargain. He will carve all night if Algamish shares his secret to becoming rich.
A bit cheeky, but hey, it worked. And Algamish, recognizing Arkad's earnest desire and willingness to work, agrees. He gives Arkad the first, most fundamental lesson, the one that would become the cornerstone of Babylonian wealth. A part of all you earn is yours to keep.
Simple, but profound. A part of all you earn is yours to keep.
It really is. This concept, deceptively simple, is the bedrock. Algamish instructs that this part should be not less than a tenth, though more if possible.
A tenth.
The core principle. Pay yourself first. Before paying for food, clothing, offerings to the gods, entertainment, anything, set aside that portion for yourself. Arrange all other expenditures with the remaining 9/10.
So live on the 90%.
Exactly. Algamish is blunt in his critique of Arkad's past. You pay to everyone but yourself. Gullard, you labor for others. He points out the simple math. If Arkad had kept just 1/10 from himself consistently, in 10 years, he would possess as much as he earned in 1 full year.
Wow, when you put it like that.
Right. It really hits home. But the wisdom doesn't stop at just saving. Algamish imparts a second, equally vital lesson. Make your savings work for you.
Okay, so step 1, save. Step 2.
Make it grow. He uses a powerful, vivid analogy. Every gold piece you save is a slave to work for you. Every copper it earns is its child that also can earn for you.
Slaves and children. Okay, so like compounding.
Precisely. This shifts the focus from simply having a store of wealth to having a wealth-generating machine. What you save must earn, and critically, its earnings must also earn to create genuine abundance. This is the concept of compounding, phrased in ancient terms.
Got it.
Wealth, Algamish explains, starts like a tiny seed that first copper saved. Planted early and nourished consistently with regular saving, it grows into a tree providing shade and contentment.
It's a nice image.
Isn't it? Algamish tells Arkad that this truth is worth far more than the 2 coppers he initially offered for the carving. If Arkad has the intelligence to grasp and apply it, he's paying Arkad 1,000 times over. And thankfully, Arkad does.
So Arkad takes these foundational lessons and begins putting them into practice, starting his journey as the richest man in Babylon by enacting the first cure fattening his purse. He faithfully saves 1/10 of his earnings.
He actually does it.
He does. And what he finds is fascinating. He manages to get along just as well on the remaining 9/10. It forces him to be more deliberate, to enact the second cure,
which is to control thy expenditures. Arkad learns to budget his spending within that remaining 9/10. He distinguishes between necessary expenses and desires.
Needs versus wants, still relevant.
Absolutely. He realizes many desires can be postponed or satisfied less expensively. The goal is discipline to live below your means after paying yourself first. He notes that coins seem to come to him more easily now, perhaps because he is prioritizing wealth accumulation over immediate gratification. Gold, he muses, avoids the empty purse.
Interesting psychological point there, too. Attracts.
Maybe so, but just saving isn't enough, as Algamish taught. Arkad needs to make his gold work, which leads to the third cure. Make thy gold multiply. Gold sitting idle is unproductive. It must be put to labor.
Okay, investing time.
Exactly. This introduces the concept of investment, having your savings earn income, and reinvesting that income so it also earns, creating that army of golden slaves. Arkad will learn this lesson through trial and error, though.
Uh-oh. His first attempt at investment, putting the third cure into practice, is a failure, which brings us to the fourth cure. Guard thy treasures from loss. Arkad entrusted his savings to Esmir, a brickmaker, to buy jewels entire.
A brickmaker buying jewels.
Yeah, you see the problem already. And Asmer, knowing nothing about jewels, was swindled, buying worthless glass bits. Arkad lost his savings.
Ouch, a tough lesson.
Definitely. This is where Algamish delivers crucial wisdom about protecting your principal. He asks Arkad why he trusted a brickmaker for advice on jewels. You seek advice from experts in that specific field, a jewel merchant for jewels, a herdsman for sheep. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does. Don't ask a plumber for stock tips.
Exactly. This highlights a core investment principle. The penalty of risk is probable loss. Don't be blinded by promises of high returns if your principal is insecure. Study any investment carefully and seek advice only from men wise and experienced in that specific type of investment.
So, due diligence and expert advice.
Right. Taking advice from the inexperienced means you pay with your savings when their opinions prove false. Algamish tells Arkad to plant another seed to start saving again.
Back to square one, basically.
Pretty much. Arkad does, and after another year, his second investment attempt with Agar the Shieldmaker is a success. Agar borrowed Arkad's savings annually to buy bronze and repaid with liberal rental interest.
Okay, that sounds more promising. Borrowing for business materials.
It was. And Arkad, remembering Algamish's lessons, reinvests this rental income, compounding his earnings. His capital grows and the income it generates grows too. This is his first successful training in profitable investment.
So he's finally getting the hang of it.
He is. But Algamish visits again later and finds Arkad using the rental income for feasts and a scarlet tunic.
Oh no, spending the profits already.
Yep. Algamish scolds Arkad, saying, "You do eat the children of your savings." The lesson is, don't spend the earnings initially. Reinvest them to grow your army of golden slaves even faster.
Right, build the army first.
Only when that army is large enough can you enjoy the banquets without depleting your wealth-generating capacity.
Delayed gratification again.
Absolutely. After 4 total years of disciplined saving and learning these lessons through experience, Arkad has mastered the core principles, living on less than he earns, seeking competent advice, and making his gold work and multiply.
He finally put it all together.
And he did! Algamish, seeing this, makes Arkad his partner, recognizing his ability to manage wealth. Arkad prospers and eventually inherits a share of Algamish's estate.
So hard work and learning paid off. This entire journey of Arkad, from humble scribe to the richest man, encapsulates the essence of these principles. He wasn't born into wealth or given it by chance. He acquired it through study, discipline, and applying the lessons learned.
Yeah, his friends might call it luck.
Right, they do. They say he was fortunate that Algamish made of you an heir. But Arkad knew it was preparation meeting opportunity, coupled with the unflinching purpose to carry a task you set for yourself to fulfillment. His definition of willpower. He emphasizes starting small to build confidence.
Makes sense. Build momentum. And this wisdom, forged in Arkad's journey, is what he then shares with the entire city in the chapter 7 Cures for a Lean Purse.
Ah, the 7 cures.
Yes. Babylon, having completed great building projects, is now full of people whose purses are empty. The economy is maybe a bit slow. King Sargon asks Arkad, the expert now, to teach the citizens how to acquire wealth.
So Arkad pays it forward, basically. He addresses the crowd, presenting his 7 cures practical steps for anyone desiring gold.
Let's recap those 7 cures, which build upon Arkad's own experience. They're really practical. The first cure. Start thy purse to fattening. The simple act of saving not less than 1/10 of everything earned. Pay yourself first.
Got it. Cure number 1. Save.
Like the egg merchant adding 1 egg daily, the purse feels heavier, bringing satisfaction and attracting more gold.
The second cure. Control thy expenditures. Learn to budget the remaining 9/10 to cover needs and manage desires. Distinguish essential expenses from things you can postpone or live without. Ensure the 1/10 is saved first, always.
Cure 2. Budget. Live on the rest.
Right.
The third cure. Make thy gold multiply. Put your savings to work through profitable investment, creating income that flows back into your purse whether you're working or resting. Build that army of golden slaves.
Cure 3. Invest. Make your money work.
Exactly.
The fourth cure. Guard thy treasures from loss. Seek wise counsel from experts before investing. Prioritize the safety of your principal over the promise of huge, rapid gains. Avoid schemes you don't understand or that are pushed by tricksters.
Cure 4. Protect your capital. Don't be reckless.
Makes sense, especially after his first mistake.
For sure. The fifth cure. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Owning your home brings confidence and permanence. In Babylon, land was available and lenders would assist if you had a portion.
Owning property.
Your payments build an asset, unlike paying rent, which is a constant expense. This was possible in Babylon because of the man-made infrastructure, the walls, the canals, making the land valuable.
Okay, cure 5. Own your home. It's an asset.
The sixth cure. Ensure a future income. Plan for old age and your family's future. This means continued cautious investment and making provision for your loved ones through arrangements akin to modern life insurance, affordable through small, regular payments.
Cure 6. Plan for the future, like retirement and insurance.
You got it. And finally, the seventh cure. Increase thy ability to earn. Continuously invest in yourself. Study, become wiser, more skillful. Act in ways that build self-respect and confidence, which enables you to achieve your desires.
So it's not just about managing money, but earning more, too. Cure 7. Invest in yourself. Increase your skills.
Exactly. This is about increasing your capacity, not just asking for more money without improving your value.
These 7 cures are Babylon's ancient roadmap to personal financial security, offered freely to anyone willing to apply them. It's pretty comprehensive.
It really is. So with principles so clear, why do people struggle? Why doesn't everyone just follow these cures?
Good question. The sources delve into a major internal enemy, highlighted in the chapter Meet the Goddess of Good Luck, though it's really about seizing opportunity, and the obstacle of procrastination.
Procrastination, the killer of dreams.
Indeed. This is shown through a story competition. 2 students share tales of missed opportunities due to hesitation. A merchant missed investing in a profitable group venture because he wavered, thinking of other uses for his money. I could buy this or do that.
Analysis paralysis, maybe?
Could be. And a cloth weaver missed buying a profitable caravan load because he delayed making an earnest payment, wanting to inspect the goods first. Which sounds reasonable, but he missed the bargain itself.
He hesitated too long. The common thread is delay, even when the opportunity seemed wise. A venerable saddle maker wisely notes that making an immediate payment when a bargain is sound is protection against your own tendency to vacillate when you're right and be stubborn when you're wrong.
That's insightful. Lock it in before you talk yourself out of it.
Exactly. The Syrian traveler in the story nails it. Opportunity flew away for the same reason: procrastination. People hesitate instead of deciding, right now, best time, I do it quick.
Procrastination is called a habit of needless delaying, an internal enemy that must be conquered like a wild ass. Strong language.
It is. The merchant confirms he had to recognize and conquer this habit, seeing it as a thief robbing him of potential profits. Arcad's conclusion is stark. Opportunity comes to everyone, but most hesitate and fall behind. Full success requires crushing the spirit of procrastination.
So knowledge isn't enough. Timely action is essential. You have to actually do it.
Right. And the sources further refine the investment principles through the 5 laws of gold, taught by Arcad to his son Nomasir, recounted by Kalabab, the camel trader. This story really reinforces the lessons on protecting your capital.
Okay, the 5 laws. Let's hear them.
Well, Arcad challenges Nomasir. To inherit his estate, he must prove he can acquire gold and be respected. He gives Nomasir a bag of gold and a clay tablet with the 5 laws, sending him out for 10 years.
A trial by fire, essentially, and on a clay tablet, very Babylonian. The sources mention how common these were, right? For everything.
Absolutely. Laws, records, letters, even grocery lists, apparently. They were the hard drives of the ancient world. Anyway, Nomasir learns by failing, big time.
Oh dear. What happened?
He loses gold betting on a horse in Nineveh, easily swayed by scheming men with a fast horse. He admits he didn't check their plan or seek advice, just jumped in.
Got taken in by a sure thing. Classic mistake.
Yep. He also loses goal in a merchant shop partnership, trusting his own inexperience and a partner who was a poor buyer and foolish spender. His gold was lost because he didn't seek wisdom first.
Another painful lesson in trusting the wrong people, or maybe just not knowing enough himself.
Exactly. These painful losses lead him back to the clay tablet. He studies the 5 laws of gold.
Gold cometh gladly, and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family.
Okay, Law 1, save consistently, echoes Cure 1.
Right. Law 2, gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field.
Law 2, make your money work and compound, Cure 3 again.
You got it. Law 3. Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling.
Law 3, seek expert advice, be cautious. Connects to Cure 4.
Precisely. Law 4. Gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep.
Law 4, stick to what you know or get approval from experts. This speaks directly to No Monsieur's failures, the horses, the dodgy partnership.
Exactly. And finally, Law 5. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment.
Law 5. Beware of get-rich-quick schemes, scams, and letting unrealistic hopes override common sense. Another aspect of Cure 4.
Right. These laws are basically a detailed guide to avoiding investment pitfalls. Guided by these laws, No Monsieur finally finds success. He invests by pooling gold with others in a proven venture, buying copper and tin to sell to the king for the city gates.
Ah, sound plan. Infrastructure project. Knowledgeable partners. Makes sense under Law 3 and 4.
Totally. When he returns to Arcad after 10 years, he brings back not just the original gold, but 2 additional bags, proving wisdom was more valuable than the initial capital. He learned his lesson.
That's a powerful story. It shows that learning from mistakes and applying sound principles really works. This is a powerful lesson on responsible investing. The chapter, The Gold Lender of Babylon, adds another layer to managing and protecting your money, particularly when dealing with others.
Yeah, this one's interesting. We meet Rodan, the spearmaker, who receives a large gift of 50 pieces of gold from the king. Big windfall.
50 pieces! That's huge!
It is. And immediately, everyone wants a piece, especially his sister, who wants him to lend it all to her husband, Araman, to start a business.
Ah, the family loan request. Always tricky.
Tell me about it. Rodan, wisely, seeks advice from Mathon the gold lender, a respected figure known for helping people navigate financial troubles.
Smart move. Go to an expert.
Mathon views gold as his merchandise. Lending is easy, getting it back if lent unwisely is hard. He has a system.
Oh, what's his system?
He classifies borrowers based on security. Those with property, those with earning capacity and honesty, like Rodan himself, and those with neither property nor assured earning capacity.
Okay, so asset-backed, character-backed, and speculative.
Pretty much. Lending to the last group is risky without guarantees from knowledgeable friends. Regarding Araman, Marathon probes his business knowledge. Does he know the trade?
And does he?
Rodan admits Araman knows nothing of buying low and selling high, only helping in shops. Malon deems the plan unwise and impractical, stressing that a merchant must learn his trade first. You can't just jump in.
Right. Enthusiasm isn't enough.
Nope. And even with knowledge, Mathon would require security beyond just honor, because risks exist, robbery, market downturns, whatever.
True. Business is risky.
Mathon's crucial point is that help must be given wisely. Don't take on a burden that belongs to another. He highlights Rodan's personal sacrifice. He points out Rodan saved 3 gold pieces over 3 years through self-denial. That's his hard-earned money.
Putting it in perspective.
Exactly. Should he risk 50 years' worth of potential saving this huge gift for Araman's untested experiment?
Probably not. So what does Mathon suggest?
Mathon's compromise is brilliant.
Right.
Rodan should offer to lend only his savings, the 3 pieces, if Araman presents a wise, possible business plan to Mathon.
Ah. Test Araman's seriousness, limit Rodan's risk, and get an expert opinion. Very clever.
Totally. Mathon's philosophy. Don't risk gold earned through hard work. Don't lend without confidence in safety and prompt earnings. The timeless wisdom here is captured in the phrase under Mathon's token box. Better a little caution than a great regret.
Better a little caution than a great regret. That applies to so much in finance, doesn't it? Lending, investing.
Absolutely. It applies whether you're lending or considering an investment for yourself. And we see the painful consequences of past unwise spending and debt in the story of Dabisir, the camel trader of Babylon, who returns from slavery determined to regain his honor.
From slavery, wow. How did he end up there?
Well, Dabisir was originally a scribe who fell into debt through needless self-indulgence, buying on credit, spending more than he earned. Classic story.
Living beyond his means.
Exactly. He sowed whirlwinds of trouble and humiliation. Creditors pursued him, his wife left him, and he ran away from Babylon, eventually falling in with robbers and being sold into slavery. A real downward spiral.
Yikes. So what turned things around?
The turning point in slavery comes when a fellow slave challenges his lack of a free spirit, making him confront his debts as enemies that drove him out. He asks himself if he has the soul of a free man.
A moment of clarity.
A powerful one. This sparks a new vision. Return to Babylon, face creditors, repay debts, make a home for his wife, become honorable. That resolve changes everything for him.
So he goes back?
He does. He returns, begs indulgence from creditors. Most are understanding, some are harsh or pleading. Crucially, he seeks wisdom from Athanon, the same gold lender, who gives him an exact plan for debt repayment and regaining self-respect.
Manthon again. He seems like the go-to guy. What's the plan?
This plan, recorded by Dabisir on his own clay tablets, is simple and powerful, focusing on percentages of his earnings.
Save 1/10 of earnings for future prosperity. This is non-negotiable. Pay yourself first, even while in debt.
Interesting. Save even when paying off debt.
Yes. Purpose 2. Live on 7/10 of earnings. Keep living expenses under control.
Okay, 70% for living.
Purpose 3. Distribute 2/10 of earnings among creditors, evenly and honestly. This is all he can afford, and they must accept it or get nothing.
Yeah, so 10% saving, 70% living, 20% debt repayment. A clear formula.
Exactly. Dabisir faithfully follows the plan even when earnings vary. He gets a job using his old knowledge as a camel tender, now buying them. He prioritizes paying himself the 10th, then living on 7/10 and dedicating the remaining 2/10 to debts.
Consistency is key.
Absolutely. Even when it meant eating herbs or skipping new clothes, he stuck to the percentages. His creditors' reactions shift over time. Initial bitterness gives way to commendation or reconciliation as he demonstrates his commitment.
They see he's serious.
Right. More importantly, Dabisir feels liberation. His heart is lighter, he stands straight, regaining his self-respect long before the debts are fully gone.
The psychological benefit is huge.
It is. After 12 moons, about a year, all debts are paid. Creditors who were harsh initially now praise him, call him honorable, and even offer future loans. The plan didn't just clear his debts, it transformed him into an honorable man with savings. He is convinced it will make him rich if he continues.
That's an amazing turnaround. And astonishingly, the sources include validation from thousands of years later. A letter from a professor in England in the 1930s, Alfred H. Shrewsbury.
No way.
Yes. He describes finding Dabisir's clay tablets presumably unearthed by archaeologists and applying the exact same 110, 710, 200 plan to his own desperate financial situation. He was worried sick, stuck in a debt cycle.
So did it work for him too?
It did. Like Dabisir, Shrewsbury and his wife faithfully implemented the plan. And like Dabisir, they achieved freedom from worry and humiliation, paid off debts, had money left over, broke their cycle, and regained self-respect. He called Dabisir's message timeless.
Wow. 5,000 years later, the same plan works. That's incredible proof of these principles.
It really is. Another story reinforcing the value of discipline and effort is found in The Luckiest Man in Babylon, featuring Sharu-Nada, the merchant prince, and Adan Gula, his former partner's grandson.
Okay, what's the angle here?
Well, Adan Gula initially embodies the opposite of Babylonian wisdom. He enjoys inherited wealth, disdains work was made for slaves, and believes his grandfather had some secret trick, not just hard work, for attracting gold.
Ah, the entitled heir trope.
Sort of. Sharu-Nada, seeing old men working fields near Babylon's ancient walls, those incredible man-made fortifications that protected the city, reflects on his own past as a slave and decides to share his story to guide Adan Gula.
So Sharu-Nada was a slave too?
Yes. He recounts being a slave with two others, Megiddo and Zabato. Megiddo's philosophy was, work is your best friend, do good work, don't shirk. It benefits the worker, makes them better. Zabato's philosophy was, be smart, avoid work, find an easy gig.
Two different approaches to a tough situation.
Right. Sharu-Nada chose Megiddo's path, promising to work hard for a good master, despite fearing being worked to death on the walls or canals, those huge public works projects.
So he committed to work.
He did. He was bought by Nananade the baker because he seemed young, strong, and liked to work. He applied himself, learned the trade, and his diligence earned him a share of sales, encouraging him to expand. He saved his pennies, feeling the comforting weight of accumulation. Work, he confirms, was proving to be my best friend.
It paid off for him. What about Zabato?
He later sees Zabato, gaunt and struggling, working on the walls, beaten down, hungry, a stark contrast showing the different outcomes of their philosophies.
Wow. So work really was the better path.
It seems so. Sharunada meets Arad Gula, a rug merchant who turns out to be Hadan Gula's grandfather, who recognizes and encourages his spirit and enterprise. Arad Gula reveals he's also a slave, partnered with his master, but hesitant to buy his freedom despite having the means. Sort of comfortable, maybe.
Interesting. Stuck in a comfortable rut.
Maybe. Sharunada challenges Arad Gula's indecision, urging him to act like a free man, decide his goal, and let work help him achieve it. Give him a little push.
Good advice, but then?
Disaster then strikes Sharunada. His master uses his ownership papers as security for gambling debts, and Sharunada is claimed by the moneylender and sold to work on the Grand Canal. Just like that.
Oh no, through no fault of his own.
Exactly. He feels his hopes stolen by another's folly. But then Arad Gula, demonstrating true character and the power of his own accumulated wealth, perhaps spurred by Sharunada's challenge, finds Sharunada, buys his title, and frees him.
Arad Gula rescued him.
Yes. Sharunada calls himself the luckiest man in Babylon. Lucky because his past hard work and character attracted a friend like Arad Gula who could and would help him.
So luck followed preparation and character.
Precisely. Arad Gula attributes their shared success, they become partners in Damascus, to Megiddo's philosophy and Sharunada's willingness to work. When Hadan Gula asks if work was his grandfather's secret key, Sharunada confirms it was the only key when he first knew him.
No magic formula, just work.
Right. Arad Gula enjoyed working, and the gods, metaphorically perhaps, rewarded his efforts, bringing friends, honors, and wealth. Sharunada's message is clear. Work is not just for slaves. It's a pleasure and the path to respect and success. Nothing takes the place of work.
So what does Hadan Gula do?
Hadan Gula, hearing this, has a transformation. He realizes his grandfather's success was built on disciplined work, not just a secret. He admires him more and decides to follow his example, shedding his jewels, symbolizing his old attitude, and riding humbly, ready to start his own journey of building wealth through effort.
A real change of heart. That's powerful.
It is. These stories, from the humble chariot builder to the freed slave to the merchant prince, all point back to the same foundational principles. Principles made possible by the unique context of Babylon itself, as explored in an historical sketch of Babylon.
Right, let's talk about the city itself. It's remarkable to think of this place, built in that flat, arid valley with no natural resources like timber, stone, or mines. Its wealth was fundamentally man-made.
Yes, the sources highlight this repeatedly. Its key resources were the fertile soil and the Euphrates River, but harnessing them required immense engineering. The Babylonians built vast irrigation canals, among the earliest known engineering feats.
Turning desert into farmland.
Essentially, yes. Transforming swampland into incredibly productive agricultural land, producing abundant crops. That was the foundation.
And the leadership.
Their rulers, at least during its peak periods, focused on wisdom, enterprise, and justice, fostering a stable environment for trade and growth. The city's eventual decline came when those energizing human forces that drive and knowledge were withdrawn, leaving it to crumble back into dust over centuries.
That's a cautionary tale there, too.
Definitely. Historically, Babylon is incredibly significant. The sources say it holds the oldest definite record of civilization, stretching back perhaps 8,000 years. The Sumerians before them were advanced, considered the first engineers, astronomers, mathematicians, and crucially for our topic, financiers.
The inventors of finance.
Well, some key aspects. They invented money as a means of exchange, promissory notes, and written titles to property foundational concepts for any economy built on trade and accumulation. They needed ways to track things.
And of course, those walls, one of the ancient world's wonders, begun by Nabopolassar and finished by Nebuchadnezzar, huge structures.
Massive. The sources say 160 feet high, maybe 9 to 11 miles long, wide enough for chariots on top. They protected the city for centuries, a testament to large-scale human effort and planning.
Hard to imagine.
It is. And interestingly, the city didn't fall because its walls were breached, but because Cyrus the Great entered through gates left open after a military defeat outside the city, the walls themselves held.
Wow. And all their wisdom, incredibly, was preserved on those baked clay tablets. The sources mention the size, like 6 by 8 inches, an inch thick, used for everything from laws and history to personal notes and business records, like Dabassir's debt plan.
Exactly. Libraries of these have been recovered by archaeologists. So Babylon's grandeur, its legendary wealth, wasn't a gift of nature or luck. It was a direct result of disciplined human effort, ingenuity, the engineering, the finance, and the consistent application of knowledge, not just grand plans, but the personal financial principles our sources lay out.
The city itself may have turned to ruin,
But the wisdom recorded on those tablets endures, proving its value across millennia. It's quite profound, really.
Okay, so let's try bringing it all together. The wisdom of Babylon, passed down through Akkad, Algamish, Mathon, and illustrated in the lives of Bansir, Kobi, Dabassir, Shahrunada, and Hadangula, provides a timeless blueprint for financial independence. Can we recap the core actions?
Sure. First, start by saving a portion of every coin you earn. Pay yourself first. That tenth, at least.
Got it. Save first. Then.
Control your spending. Live within or below your means by budgeting the rest. Don't let lifestyle creep eat your savings potential.
Budget the 90%. Okay.
Make your savings work for you through wise investment, creating compounding income. Put your money to work.
Invest wisely. What's next?
Guard your principal fiercely by seeking competent advice and avoiding undue risk or schemes you don't understand. Protect what you have.
Protects the principal? Makes sense.
Build confidence and an asset by striving to own your home, if it makes sense in your situation. Turn rent into equity.
Own your home. Got it.
Plan for the long term. Your future, your retirement, your family security. Think ahead.
Future planning. Crucial.
Continuously increase your ability to earn by improving your skills, knowledge, and self-respect. Invest in yourself.
Increase earning power, right?
Conquer procrastination. Take action when opportunity arises. Don't just know, do.
Beat procrastination, yeah.
Value honest work as a source of pride, respect, and success. Find satisfaction and reward in your efforts.
Work is good. And for debt.
If in debt, face it head-on with a clear, disciplined plan like Dabassir's method of allocating earnings. 10% to save, 7% to live, 20% to debt until it's gone.
Milano 70-20 plan. Very specific.
These aren't just dusty stories from 5,000 years ago. They worked for an ex-slave, for a merchant prince, and incredibly, they worked for a worried college professor in 20th century England. They offer a clear, actionable path for you today, no matter your starting point.
It really feels universal. Think back to that image, Babylon. A city of legendary wealth built from nothing but soil and water in a desolate land, relying entirely on human ingenuity, discipline, and the application of fundamental principles.
Amazing when you frame it like that.
Right. If they could create such abundance from so little, guided by this enduring wisdom, what potential lies within your grasp? Armed with these same principles in today's world, with all its seemingly greater resources and opportunities, what will you build?
We're taking a stack of sources, a really classic book on finance, actually, and its study guide, and we're going to unpack the big ideas, the insights, maybe even some surprising bits just for you.
Yeah, think of it as like getting the core wisdom without wading through everything yourself. We're basically your guides, digging into the stuff you sent over and trying to figure out what really matters.
And today's dive is, well, it's fascinating. We're looking at ancient wisdom for, modern wealth.
Right.
We've got excerpts from The Richest Man in Babylon. It's famous for taking these old Babylonian stories, parables really, and turning them into practical money advice.
And critically, we also have the study guide that goes with it.
Exactly. And that study guide, it's key, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Because it does more than just check if you read the story. It asks these really insightful questions that bridge the gap. They make you think about how these ancient ideas actually apply to your life right now. It pushes for reflection.
So our mission today is to, distill those core principles for building wealth, the ones laid out in the parables.
Guided by those study guide prompts.
Yeah, guided by the study guide, and see how they connect to your own financial situation. Think of this as maybe a shortcut to understanding financial truths that worked, 5,000 years ago?
And are still incredibly relevant today.
Totally. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
First, let's set the scene. Imagine ancient Babylon.
Not just any old city.
No, this place was legendary for its wealth. It's near the modern Suez Canal, mostly built from brick, and those walls.
Ah, the famous wall.
Queen Semiramis started them, apparently. Then they were built up even more, maybe 50, 60 feet high.
Yeah.
Faced with burnt brick, a deep moat all around. These weren't just pretty, they were serious protection.
Protecting immense treasures, right?
Exactly. And they worked for a long, long time, kept invaders out.
Yeah, the city didn't fall because someone breached the walls, did it? It was more of a slow decline over centuries.
Right? It just sort of faded, became these city graves, the source calls them, just mounds of earth.
Until the archaeologists came along.
And started digging. And they found not just ruins, but amazing things like whole libraries of clay tablets.
Preserved incredibly well.
And that's where the real treasure is, you could argue.
Explain that.
Well, the physical gold, the stuff in the palaces, that all scattered or got buried, lost to time.
Right.
But the wisdom, the knowledge about how they actually got that wealth in the first place, that survived, etched onto those tablets.
That's a powerful idea. Physical stuff vanishes, cities crumble.
Empires fall.
But the knowledge of how to create wealth, how to manage it, that lasts. Money's always been the yardstick for earthly success, hasn't it?
Seems like it. And the Babylonians, they clearly had to figure this stuff out, learn how to get wealthy.
But it wasn't working for everyone, even in the richest city.
No, definitely not. The book introduces Bansir, the chariot builder, and Kabi, the musician.
Skilled guys, hard workers.
Living in the richest city imaginable. And yet...
their purses are empty.
Exactly. And that's such a relatable start, isn't it?
Totally. The study guide really jumps on this. It asks you straight up, how is Bansir's predicament a reflection of your life? Like, are you feeling discouraged right now? Feeling like you're lacking something financially?
It makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Am I working hard, putting in the effort, but just not seeing the results I expect?
Yeah. Bansir talks about dreaming of being a man of means, having a heavy purse. Then he wakes up, sees his empty one, and feels this rebellion sweep over him.
That sense of unfairness. Why not me? When you see wealth all around you.
And the study guide hits that nerve, too. It asks, have you ever felt that rebellion, that anger even, because your finances aren't where you want them, despite working hard, that feeling of not being justly rewarded?
It's a common feeling. But then Kabi has this insight.
The musician, right?
Yeah. He points out, look, we're good at building chariots, we're good at music, because we put our best endeavors there. We focused on mastering those crafts.
And the study guide prompts you there, too. Like, list the skills you focused on and actually succeeded at. Chances are you excel where you've put in the focused effort, right?
Makes sense. And Kabi's aha moment is realizing they never specifically sought wealth with that same kind of focus.
They sought skill in their trade.
Exactly. Which sparks the idea, well, maybe getting wealthy also takes specific focus, specific knowledge.
So they need a teacher.
Right. They need to find someone who's actually done it. And who better than Arkad?
The richest man in Babylon.
The richest man. And Kabi notices something interesting about him.
What of it?
Even though Arkad is incredibly wealthy, he still acknowledges his old, less fortunate friends like Kabi. Smiles at them.
Huh. And the study guide asks about that, doesn't it? Like, might this trait be one of the secrets to his wealth?
Yeah. Or is it just something rich people do? Does being generous, being friendly, actually help you get wealthy? Or maybe maintain relationships that are good for business? It makes you wonder.
So they figure Arkad must know the secret, how to get an income that keeps flowing even when you're not, actively working.
The passive income dream, even back then.
Pretty much. So they decide to just ask him, and they plan to bring along other friends who are in the same boat, working hard, but staying poor.
It's Kabi's new understanding, the book calls it. They haven't found wealth because they never really looked for the knowledge of how to get it.
They decided to seek wisdom, and Arkad, well, he agrees to teach them.
Okay, let's talk about Arkad. He wasn't just rich. He was known for being liberal, generous.
Generous with charities, with his family, even in his own spending.
Yeah, but here's the kicker. The book says his wealth increased more rapidly than ever, despite this generosity.
Which flies in the face of the idea that you have to be a total miser to get rich, right?
Exactly. And the study guide tackles that head on. It asks, do you think his generosity helped his wealth, or did he get wealthy despite being generous?
It challenges that stereotype. Maybe generosity opens doors, creates goodwill, builds reputation. Things that actually help in the long run.
Arkad explains his own motivation. He saw what wealth could do. Nice house, travel, fine things, funding big projects like temples.
All the good stuff.
And he said wealth increased the potency of all those things.
Wealth is a power, he says. The study guide asks you to chew on that. What do you think he meant?
It's not just buying stuff, is it?
No, it's the ability wealth gives you, the power to do more, experience more, help more, build things, secure your future.
Arcad saw that power and decided, okay, I'm not just going to watch other people have this.
Yeah.
I want my share.
So how did he start? Not rich, apparently.
No, he got a job as a scribe, working hard, long hours.
Yeah.
But his earnings just disappeared.
Vanished. Expenses.
Daily living. Sound familiar?
Too familiar.
He was determined, though. He made a deal with Algamish, a well-known moneylender.
The deal was?
Arcad would work all night, copying this long inscription onto a clay tablet for Algamish. In return, advice on how to get rich.
Wow, he worked all night for just advice.
He did it, pulled an all-nighter. And Algamish kept his word. He gave him the first, most fundamental piece of wisdom, the first cure for a lean purse.
Which was?
A part of all you earn is yours to keep.
That's it.
That's the bedrock. Seems almost too simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, duh. Save some money.
But how many people actually do it? Consistently, that's the core.
Okay. So that leads into his bigger framework.
Exactly. The 7 cures for a lean purse. And the reason he taught this wasn't just personal ambition. It was a societal issue.
Right, King Sargon was worried.
Yeah, these huge building projects would finish canals, temples, and suddenly lots of people couldn't support themselves. The wealth, the gold, it was all concentrated with just a few people.
And the study guide immediately makes that connection to today, doesn't it? Asking, do you believe this is also a challenge in current society?
It feels incredibly relevant, yeah. Wealth inequality, people working hard but struggling.
So King Sargon wants Babylon to be prosperous overall, not just a few rich guys.
Right. He needs lots of prosperous citizens. So he asks Arcad, the richest guy, to teach everyone how to get rich.
And Arcad agrees.
He does. And he emphasizes, look, this is practical stuff. It's teachable. I started with nothing special, no advantages you don't have.
That's hopeful. It's not about luck or birthright.
It's about applying principles. But the study guide probes your mindset here. It asks, is just wanting wealth enough? Or do you maybe have mental blocks that stop you from applying this?
Ooh, interesting.
And it flips it around. Would you teach your best wealth tips to others? Or would you worry about creating competitors?
Arcad chose to share, which is significant in itself.
Definitely. So he lays out his 7 cures, one a day, starting with that first one.
Cure number 1, start thy purse to fattening.
The practical rule, save at least 1/10, 10% of everything you earn.
Simple math.
He uses this great analogy with an egg merchant. If you put 10 eggs in his basket every morning but only take out 9 each evening,
eventually the basket overflows.
Your purse is the basket, your income the eggs. Save 1 out of 10 and it starts to fill up.
Okay, makes sense. But there's a catch he mentions, right?
Huge one. And the study guide flags it immediately. He says, what each of us calls our necessary expenses will always grow to equal our incomes unless we protest to the contrary.
Lifestyle inflation. Parkinson's law for money.
Exactly. Expenses just seem to expand to eat up whatever you make. And the study guide asks you point blank, is this true for you? And don't confuse real necessities with just desires.
That's a tough mirror to look into sometimes.
For sure. So by forcing yourself to save that 10th first, you create gold, you create savings. That prevents the purse from being perpetually empty.
He contrasts the two paths, doesn't he?
Yeah. You can spend it all on fleeting daily desires, trinkets, fancy food, whatever, and have nothing left. Or you use the saved coins to acquire things that can actually grow or produce more income. Gold, land, herds, investments, things that last.
One path is temporary pleasure, the other builds a future.
His instruction is blunt. For each 10 coins I put in, to spend but 9. Try it, he says. See if you can't do it.
Implying that you can if you prioritize it.
Right. Okay, so you're saving the 10th. But what about the other 9/10? How do you survive?
That brings us to the second cure. Control thy expenditures.
This directly tackles that necessary expenses problem we just talked about.
And the study guide hammers it again. Is that observation about expenses growing true for you? Make sure you know the difference between a real need and just a want.
It forces you to get honest with yourself.
So the cure is budgeting.
Essentially, yes. Careful planning. You figure out what you truly need, what enjoyments are reasonable, what desires are worthwhile, and you make sure it all fits within that 9/10 of your income.
Budgeting is the defense for your savings, he calls it.
Yeah, that 1/10 saving has to be the absolute first priority, non-negotiable.
And the study guide makes you rate yourself on this, right? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to saving over spending?
It forces that self-assessment. Where do your actions show your priorities really lie?
And it gets into the psychology, too, asking you to visualize financial security.
Right. What does it feel like to have enough?
Yeah.
To feel secure, to be able to satisfy those deeper, worthwhile desires, a good home, travel, helping others, starting a business, philanthropy.
It uses really evocative prompts, like imagining helping struggling families or setting up a charity.
And then, after you visualize that big, fulfilling future.
It asks you to think about some small, maybe impulsive thing you want right now.
Yeah. How does giving up that small thing feel compared to achieving the big thing you just imagined?
It reframes sacrifice. It's not deprivation. It's enabling something much better down the road.
The study guide also gets practical. Analyze your actual budget. Are you saving that 10th? If not, commit. Make a plan.
Okay, so save a 10th. Control spending on the other 9/10. What's next?
Cure 3. Make thy gold multiply.
Put your savings to work.
Exactly. Our COD is clear. Money just sitting there does nothing. It's the earnings from your savings that build real wealth.
He admits he messed up at first, though.
Oh, yeah. His first investment was a disaster. Gave money to a brickmaker to buy jewels, and the guy got totally ripped off. Lost it all.
Ouch. Learning the hard way.
But his first good investment was lending to Agar, a shield maker. Agar needed money for bronze. He was reliable, paid back the loan plus interest, a liberal rental, Arcad called it.
So the goal here is passive income again. Money that comes in whether you're working or not.
That's the dream he paints. An income that flows constantly. And the study guide asks you directly, is your money earning interest? Is it growing? Do you have investments? List them.
It pushes you to check if your savings are just sitting there, stagnant.
Right. And it asks you to think, what amount of savings would actually make you feel secure? And again, visualize using the income from those investments for homes, travel, business, charity.
It reinforces the purpose of making money multiply. It's not just about numbers. It's about the freedom and the good it enables.
Okay, you're saving, controlling spending, making it multiply. But there are risks.
Yes. Cure number 4. Guard thy treasures from loss.
Arcad warns, misfortune loves a shining mark. Your gold attracts trouble, basically. You got to protect it.
Especially when you're starting out, right? He advises learning with small amounts first.
Yes. And he warns specifically about those tempting high-return schemes, especially ones pitched by
friends and relatives. Oh, dear.
The study guide goes right there. It asks about your experiences. Did you ever invest in something high promise that failed? Did you ever lend money to family or friends and have it go sour? Did it strain the relationship?
Because mixing money and personal relationships is just tricky.
Very. The core principle Arcad teaches here is security of principle is number 1. Don't lose your initial investment.
The penalty for taking too much risk is probably losing your money.
So you have to study investments carefully. Can the borrower repay? What's their track record? What are the dangers?
Like his own mistake with the brickmaker and the jewels.
Exactly. He lost his money because he took advice from someone who knew nothing about jewels. He wasn't an expert in that field.
And the study guide connects this directly. It quotes the book. Taking advice from inexperienced people means you'll pay with your savings to learn they were wrong.
Then it asks you, have you taken financial advice from non-experts? How did that turn out? Or who are the credible experts you actually listen to?
Makes you think about where you get your financial info.
Critically, Arcad also warns against romantic desires to make wealth rapidly.
The get-rich-quick trap.
It's alluring, but dangerous. The study guide asks, are you anxious to make fast money? Why? Trying to get at that underlying psychology that leads to bad decisions.
And practically it asks, how much of your current investment are you willing to lose? And pushes you to commit time, like an hour a week, to actually studying investment options. Make informed choices, not emotional ones.
Okay, makes sense. Guard your capital. What's Cure 5?
Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment.
Own your own home.
Arcad strongly advocates for it. He argues it cuts your living costs significantly over the long run, which frees up more money for saving and investing.
But it's not just financial, is it?
No, he talks about the intangible stuff too. Pride in ownership, confidence, a secure place for your family, space for a garden.
And the study guide taps into that feeling. Do you have a garden? Does it bring satisfaction? Do you feel pride in your home? Is it welcoming?
Arcad's advice is pretty direct. Every man should own his roof. Borrow money if you have to. Pay it back like rent. And eventually, you own a valuable asset. Your only cost then is, like, taxes.
The study guide asks if you want to own, if you'd borrow to do it.
But it also acknowledges the modern debate, right? Owning versus renting.
Yeah, it encourages you to weigh the pros and cons. Owning has other costs, maintenance, taxes, stress. It suggests making a comparison for your situation. Does owning actually save you money where you live?
It forces a practical, modern look at this ancient advice.
Okay, cure 6.
Ensure a future income.
This is about long-term planning. Preparing for old age when earning might be harder.
Exactly. And protecting your family if you're not around anymore. Your investments need to last.
He says burying treasure is risky thieves.
Right. He again mentions owning property or land as a secure way to have future income, maybe through rent. The study guide asks if you own assets specifically for that long-term purpose or if you want to.
But what's really interesting here is he talks about something like life insurance.
Yeah, it's fascinating for an ancient text. He describes this idea where lots of people pay small amounts into a pool, and if someone dies, their family gets a handsome sum. He calls it a desirable, stable plan.
Like a prototype for insurance.
Pretty much.
Right.
And the study guide connects it to today by asking if you know families who struggled after a death because there was no plan. It pushes you to research modern life insurance, the costs, risks, benefits, to see if it fits your plan to protect your family.
Following Arcad's line of thinking. Okay, last cure, number 7.
Increase thy ability to earn.
So it's not just about saving and investing what you have.
No, Arcad says your ability to earn is your greatest asset, and you have to actively cultivate it. Study, get wiser, improve your skills, become better at your craft.
But it's broader than just job skills, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He links earning ability to self-respect and confidence. And that comes from acting honorably.
Yeah.
Paying debts promptly, not buying stuff you can't afford in the first place, taking care of your family so they respect you, making a will, being compassionate and thoughtful towards others.
Wow, that's a holistic view of financial well-being.
Totally. And the study guide gets you to rate yourself on these things. Are you a good caretaker of your wealth? Do you have a will? Are you thoughtful? It pushes for that self-reflection.
And it encourages you directly. Seek wisdom, develop skills, build confidence, rate your commitment.
Arcad observes that wealth grows as you become more capable. Small sums first, then larger ones, matching your increased ability.
So if you feel intimidated by large sums, maybe it's linked to how capable you feel.
The study guide asks exactly that. Do you struggle with the idea of handling more money? Does it feel out of reach?
It also stresses having clear goals, like Arcad's initial goal of saving 5 pieces of gold. The guide asks you to list your specific financial goals.
And it circles back to self-respect. Where might you lack financial self-respect, and what one concrete action can you take to change that?
So those are the 7 cures. A really solid foundation.
Absolutely. But the book and guide cover more ground too, right? Like mindset stuff.
Definitely. Like the whole idea of attracting good luck.
It starts with someone just finding a purse of gold, right? Sparking a debate.
Yeah. Is luck just random chance?
Yeah.
Or is it like divine favor?
The discussion quickly dismisses gambling and races as reliable paths to wealth. Arcad says he found luck elsewhere, in more worthwhile things.
And the study guide reinforces that, asking about your gambling experiences if you know anyone who really got wealthy that way, hinting that it's probably not the reliable route.
So where does luck come from, according to them?
It shifts the focus to opportunity.
Being ready when chance comes along.
Exactly. There are stories about people who missed out because they hesitated or procrastinated. Opportunity, she will not wait for such slow fellow.
Procrastination is the enemy within.
That's how they frame it. It drives opportunities away. And the study guide makes it personal. Rate yourself as a procrastinator. Think about opportunities you missed because you waited too long.
It asks, what stops you from acting? Is it fear?
It really digs into those internal barriers. The conclusion, good luck isn't random. It follows opportunity. And you attract opportunity by being prepared and acting decisively when it shows up.
So the study guide asks, do you feel lucky? Can you attract luck? It connects luck to readiness and action, not just chance.
Right. Then there's the huge topic of debt.
Handled through the story of Dabasir, the camel trader.
Yeah, he owes money, blames ill fortune.
And gets called out on it. Arcad tells him, ill fortune pursues the man who thinks more of borrowing than of repaying. Ouch.
Harsh, but maybe true. The study guide asks you that directly. Do you believe that? Is blaming luck just avoiding responsibility?
Dabasir's story is rough. Wasted money, debt, ran away, ended up a slave.
He talks about seeing the world through a colored stone. Like he couldn't see reality clearly because of his situation.
Until rock bottom, lost in the desert, totally desperate.
And then clarity. The colored stone falls away. He sees things as they are. He realizes his creditors weren't enemies. They were friends who trusted him.
That's a huge mental shift, and the study guide prompts you to try it. Can you reframe your lenders, even hypothetically, as people who extended trust?
This clarity gives him determination. He sees his debts as problems to be solved, like a free man would.
So he makes a plan, with Mathon's help.
Exactly. A concrete plan written down on clay tablets. Accountability.
And the plan is?
The famous formula. 110th to save his own, 710ths for living, and 210ths 20% dedicated only to paying back creditors, proportionally.
And the crucial rule. Never spend more than that 7/10 on living, no matter what.
That's the key. And the study guide makes you apply it. Write your commitment. List your debts. Calculate your 20% payment. Have you busted your budget lately? It makes it real.
Davasir sticks to it.
Rigorously. Records everything. Pays everyone off in a year. His creditors start respecting him again, calling him a piece of bronze, solid, reliable.
Wow. Recording the details helped him stay focused, maybe? The study guide asks if that might help you.
And this isn't just an ancient story. The study guide includes a letter from a modern guy, Alfred Shrewsbury, an archaeologist.
Oh, yeah.
He was drowning in debt, called it hell on earth. He applied Davasir's exact 20-70-10 plan.
And it worked?
Totally saved him.
Yeah.
He even talks about the adventure of living on 70% and the sporty part of saving the 10%. He reframed the whole process.
That's powerful. So the study guide is full of action steps here.
Absolutely. Write your commitment, list your debts, make your plan. And it challenges your mindset. Are you a fighter or do you just give in to debt? Victim or victor? What will you actually do?
It really pushes for determination.
Then, related to debt, there's lending. How to lend wisely.
Through Mathon, the gold lender, talking to Radon.
Yeah, Radon wants to lend his life savings 50 gold pieces to his brother-in-law who has no experience.
Risky.
Mavathon slams the brakes. He says gold brings responsibility, fear, power, and problems. The study guide asks if you've ever felt that money being a burden, fearing its loss.
Mathanon tells that fable, right? The ox and the ass.
Yeah, the ass helps the ox shirk work, but ends up doing double duty itself.
The lesson being, helping unwisely can mean you take on the other person's burden or risk. The study guide asks if you've ever done that, helped someone financially and lost out yourself.
Mathon says the lender's goal is safe for payment, not taking on the borrower's risk. Stick with people who have a track record.
So his advice to Rodin.
Don't lend your life savings based on sentiment. If you must help, demand a solid plan, maybe get it checked out, and lend only a small part, like a year's savings, if the plan is good.
The core lesson. Better a little caution than a great regret.
Timeless. And it takes guts, right? Saying no to family or friends who ask for money, especially if it's a bad risk.
The study guide pushes you. Do you have that courage? Practice saying no, politely, but firmly. Think about times caution helped you or lack of caution hurt you.
Mathon also notes that young people often don't realize how bad hopeless debt can be, like a deep pit. The guide asks if that's still true today, despite more financial info being available.
Good question. Is the fundamental danger still there for the inexperienced?
The book also uses this great metaphor, the walls of Babylon.
The literal walls protecting the city and its treasures.
Right. Old Banzar, the guard, reassures people the walls will keep them safe. Babylon lasted because it was protected.
And the analogy for us is...
We need financial walls, too. Protection against the enemy's unexpected job loss, illness, market crashes, tragedies.
So our modern walls are things like insurance life, health, property.
Yeah, and emergency savings, dependable investments, layers of protection.
The study guide asks you to rate your own feeling of safety, 1 to 10. Then list your protections. What walls do you have? What walls do you still need to build?
Makes you assess your financial defenses.
Finally, the book really emphasizes the power of work itself.
Through Sharanada's story to his grandson, Hadan Gula, the spendthrift.
Sharanada points out these old men still plowing fields diligently after 40 years.
Yeah, and the study guide asks, what does that observation tell you about a sustained work ethic?
Sharanada shares his own life, including being a slave. He credits an older man, Megiddo, who told him work is the best friend.
Even as a slave selling cakes, he worked hard, saved tiny amounts, found pride in it. Arad Gula, the grandfather, noticed his spirit.
Then he faced that brutal canal digging work.
Horrible. But he remembered Megiddo's words, found determination. His sheer willingness to work hard saved him, impressed Arad Gula, and eventually made him a partner.
And Arad Gula's secret to success?
Sharanada realized it was simple. Arad Gula enjoyed his work and was rewarded for it.
So work isn't just a chore or something for the less fortunate.
No, approached with dedication, maybe even enjoyment, it attracts success, builds connections, earns respect. That's the foundation Hadan Gula needed to understand.
And the study guide asks you to reflect on the work ethic of people you admire. What lessons do you take? It even suggests writing a thank you note to a work mentor.
So if we pull all this together, the ancient parables, the study guide's reflections, the core wisdom is pretty consistent, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It starts with that discipline. Save your 10th. Always.
Then control your spending with the rest. Budget carefully.
Put the savings to work, make it multiply, but be smart about it. Protect your principal. Get good advice.
Understand the value of owning your home for finances and for well-being.
Ensure your future. Protect your family and your later years. Build those walls.
And constantly work on increasing your ability to earn skills, wisdom, self-respect, honorable actions.
Plus the mindset stuff. See luck as seizing opportunity, tackle debt head-on with a plan, lend cautiously, and value hard, dedicated work.
And the study guide is crucial because it doesn't just let you read the stories. It forces you to apply it. Reflect, assess, plan, act.
That proper preparation the guide's forward talks about. Understanding leads to wiser thoughts. Wiser thoughts lead to wiser actions. The reflection is the preparation.
It's amazing that this stuff, written on clay tablets thousands of years ago, feels so now.
Because it's about fundamental principles, human nature, discipline. Prosperity is available, the book argues, if you understand and apply these simple rules.
It's not about fancy tricks. It's about timeless consistency.
Taking control, applying the truths, letting time do its thing.
Okay, so here's something to maybe leave you thinking about reflecting on this whole dive. Dabasir hit rock bottom in the desert, but that's when he saw things clearly, found his determination.
Arkad learned vital lessons from his painful losses.
That modern guy, Shrewsbury, found adventure and sport in the discipline of budgeting his way out of debt. So the question for you is, what part of your financial life, maybe a challenge you're facing now or a goal you have, could you look at with that kind of new clarity, that new determination after hearing this ancient wisdom? Or maybe where could you find an unexpected adventure in applying these principles?
The wisdom's there. The next step is putting it into practice.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the wisdom of ancient Babylon. We really hope these principles resonate and maybe spark some action.
Yeah, go out there, apply what makes sense for you, and keep an eye out for those opportunities.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.